I know that, like me, you're probably tired of those discipline videos, not because discipline is bad, but because most of the time they make us feel like nothing, as if not having changed yet were a moral failure, as if we were just missing some magical discipline that would suddenly fix everything. There's always someone with an apparently sorted out life saying the secret was waking up early, suffering in silence, working while everyone else sleeps, and doing what needs to be done even without motivation. It's a simple idea, almost comforting. If you didn't make it, the problem is you watch, you agree, you feel bad. You promise yourself this time will be different. For a few days, it is. Then everything goes back to exactly the same place. And that familiar feeling shows up. Maybe the problem is you. Maybe you're lazy. Maybe you never finish anything. Everyone else can do it, except you. But think about it for a moment. If discipline were this almost mystical thing that fixes life, people wouldn't repeat the same mistakes for years. There wouldn't be addiction. There wouldn't be so many exhausted people stuck in routines, trying to force themselves into lives that don't really make sense to them. Willpower runs out. It always has, no matter how much you hate yourself or promise that this time will be different. What almost no one likes to admit is something else. A lot of people don't stop because it's too comfortable to stop. They stop because they don't see enough reason to keep going. And that hurts, because it means facing the possibility that you're chasing things that were never really yours. You say you want to change, but change for what? For whom? To fit into which image? When those answers are vague, your brain does what it knows best. It chooses the easiest, most predictable path. At least there, the reward is familiar. Maybe your brain isn't sabotaging you. Maybe it just doesn't buy the idea you're trying to sell it. It looks at the effort, looks at the distant, uncertain reward, and compares it to the immediate comfort of staying the same. And almost every time, staying the same wins, not because you're weak, but because it's consistent with the life you've built so far. Everyone knows that strange feeling of knowing you could do more, be more, go further, but not wanting to give up your current comfort. You're not unhappy enough to change, but not satisfied enough to feel at peace. In that space, discipline doesn't grow. There's no ground for it. People say discipline is doing it without motivation, but no one sustains that for long. People who seem disciplined aren't forcing themselves against everything they feel. They just have a reason clear enough that they don't have to negotiate with doubt all the time. So you try phrases, routines, challenges. It works for a while. Novelty always works. But novelty doesn't become identity. When it fades, all that's left is effort. And effort without meaning becomes weight. Maybe the problem isn't that you can't change. Maybe you just haven't decided to let go of the life you have now. That's not an accusation. It's a fact. As long as changing costs more than staying the same, you'll stay the same. Before trying to become ultra-focused and disciplined, maybe the honest thing is to look at the future you're building if nothing changes. Same habits, same routines, same regrets piling up. If that doesn't bother you, there's no reason to change. But if it does, then something there deserves attention. Then comes the hardest part. Separating what you truly want from what you were taught to want. When you question that, a lot falls away. Maybe very little remains. Maybe just one thing. And that's enough. When something really makes sense, it doesn't need to be a huge plan. Start small enough to fit your real life. Not to impress anyone, but to trust yourself again. Your brain will complain. It wants comfort. And you already know where that leads. Every time you act in alignment with what makes sense to you, something shifts. Not excitement, self-respect. And self-respect accumulates. Maybe that's where discipline is born. In the end, maybe discipline isn't forcing yourself to do hard things, but stopping betraying yourself every day. Acting even when tired, like someone you respect. And maybe it all comes down to one simple question. What truly makes you get up when no one is watching?